Here, let me see if I can log mine on. Here, let me see if I can log mine on. We're live, by the way.
Can't wear that in
We're
here.
not all the way in yet. That's pretty-
Can't wear that line in here.
Jeez. Let me check my calendar.
There you go. Thank you. You're welcome.
Trying to keep her- No, it's usually second Tuesday. You'll enjoy that.
I bet.
I-
Those guys are all.
Oh, all right. I forgot to bring it the next time. We got this. Really, I don't know what we need to do, but if there's something we need to do, just let me know. I meant to bring it to you. 2 meetings ago, but. Get which are open. That's perfect. So. No, not that. But, and you know, that's, I know, sign off on. Still, I thought it wasn't good when I saw that.
Okay, it's 6 o'clock, so we'll call the Wabash City School Board meeting to order. Roll call.
Everyone's present.
All right, will you please stand, join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We begin each meeting by reading the Wabash City Schools mission. Wabash City Schools provides a relevant and rigorous education founded upon relationships to ensure each student is college and career ready for success in the global community. I'd like to welcome everyone. Do we have any recognitions?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Mr. Feiger, who is the council representative, is with us. And then obviously Mr. Kanya.
We do have one revision to the agenda. Item L on the board agenda. I would take a motion to approve the revision.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the revision, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Item H, the consent agenda. We have minutes from the September 21st, 2020 meeting, claims, donations, and no financials today. Take a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Discussion?
Matt, do you have anything?
No, not.
Okay.
Not. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item I, the next regular scheduled board meeting will be Monday, October 26th, 2020 at Wabash City Hall, 202 South Wabash Street, Wabash, Indiana at 6 p.m. We have a few items of communication. Public hearing of Wabash City Schools, October 5th, 2020, 6 p.m., Wabash City Hall. School board will meet to discuss the terms of the tentative agreement of the teacher collective bargaining agreement, which is posted at www.apaches.k12.in.us. Take a motion to open the hearing.
So moved.
Motion, second. Discussion.
Yeah, I would just, the master contract that we agreed with the Teachers Association, which was passed last week,
72 to 1, I believe.
72 to 1, really came, I think a lot of that work was done last year. The association and administration worked to put together a table. I think everybody agreed that a clear progression of increases was helpful for people. And so we really, this year's negotiations just followed that table. And I think the 72 to 1 vote would indicate that it was successful. So I appreciate Mr. Burns, Mr. Winrich, and the association for their work both last year and this year, and look forward to a great year.
Yeah, I would add to that it's huge when you look at what's going on financially across the country, that Wabash City Schools teachers were paid for everything through COVID. They were compensated with what we're doing new when it comes to the online, and still got a pay raise. And I've had questions from people, wondering why is it every year teachers get a raise, those types of things. And so, I think the most important thing for me was when we transitioned to that scale, it was a step towards not making this transactional. And, as I've explored education at the next level, transactional education is the wrong kind of education from a teacher standpoint. You don't want a teacher to feel like I'm here for the paycheck. There's only one reason a teacher should ever walk in those doors, and that's for students. And so looking at why 3s and 4s are the same, why we like a scale that progresses regularly, it takes away the transactional nature. And that's the hope, is that we can continue to be an us versus collectively us versus us and them. And I really appreciated being able to sit down this year. And I think the negotiations were done in about 10 seconds actually. And the rest was just discussion of how we move forward and how we continue to build Wabash City Schools to be both relevant and rigorous in the 21st century. So a big thank you to the school board, a thank you to the school corporation, the support of the teachers. It was the shining moment for me as we're sitting in this COVID and Wabash City School teachers aren't being battered by the storm. And hopefully they're able to then pay that forward to students.
Any other discussion? Okay, if not, I'll take a motion to close the hearing.
Move it close.
Second.
Motion second, the hearing is closed. There's no old business, new business. Item A, approve recommendation to accept the salary assistance grant for Japanese language courses from the Japanese Foundation in the amount of $30,000.
So moved.
A motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion second, discussion?
Yeah, just if you weren't aware, Consul General Okada came last, what's it been? 2 Fridays ago. I was trying to think, it seems like it was just last Friday, but it wasn't. Homecoming week, and personally hand delivered that check for $30,000. And so very appreciative to Council General Okada and the Japan Foundation and Jazzy for their support of our Japanese language program.
All those in favor of approving the recommendation, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item B, approve recommendation for Caleb Kelsheimer to cover the maternity leave for WHS math teacher Christian Grindle from October 26, 2020 through the end of the 2020-2021 school year.
So moved.
A motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion second, discussion.
We just feel really fortunate to the timing of Caleb's student teaching and to be able to come in. Obviously, Mrs. Grindle is one of our best at what she does, and we feel very, very comfortable having Mr. Kelsheimer. I think the toughest thing is going to be, we got to figure out his email since there's already one K Kelsheimer on staff. So, but welcome, Caleb.
All those in favor of approving the recommendation, say aye.
Aye.
And one abstention. Motion passes. Item C, approve Chad Nickum as assistant maintenance engineer for Wabash City Schools at a salary of $45,000 effective October 12th, 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second, discussion.
Yeah, and we've talked about this position for a long time. Obviously, Mr. Maxwell carries a wealth of institutional knowledge since he's been our director of facilities since 1980, before Mr. Winrich was born. So he's been with us for a long time. And it's not as simple as just somebody replacing him tomorrow. And so both Mr. Maxwell, Mr. Stone, and myself are very grateful to the board to be able to hire somebody nearly a year out that can job shadow with Bruce and really gain some of that institutional knowledge before Bruce walks off into the sunset in September. Although we've told Bruce we're not allowing him to just walk off into the sunset. There'll be things that we want to engage him with, and he's certainly willing to come back and help with certain things. But thank you to the board. And obviously, Chad is not a stranger to this organization. Chad was hired as a building custodian at the high school originally, and then the head custodian at OJ before taking on a building tech position with the district a little bit later. And so we know that he is a hard worker. He loves to solve problems. And so I can't think of somebody better to fill the shoes of Bruce Maxwell next September than Chad Nickum.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item D, approve Whitney Myers as the incubator EDU facilitator with a stipend of $5,000 effective October 12th, 2020.
So moved.
Motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion second, discussion.
Yeah, and so if you'll remember, Tyler Karst left us to take a position in another organization late summer. We did not fill that position primarily because numbers were low in that incubator program and our business program. But we believe in entrepreneurship. We believe in that program. We want to see that program alive and well. In discussions with Ms. Myers, who's got an MBA, we feel like she can help facilitate it. One of the things we really want her to be able to do is to look at incubator EDU curriculum and also the co-starters curriculum that Grow Wabash County has provided, and be able to decide which direction we should be able to go and build out that program. Wednesday, we have a call out at Wabash High School with about 40 some kids. And our hope is to either build it out as a club or a class in the interim, and then be ready to hit the ground running come fall of 21 to have the class back in place. I may be coming to you, or most likely will be coming to you once we have students in a class, to create another stipend for Ms. Myers. But this stipend is to build it out to really oversee the program. We will build in the second piece of that, but we wanted to make sure we had kids before we did that.
So we didn't have anybody from the program last year that was returning this year.
No.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of approving the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Item E, accept resignation of Brandy O'Donnell as cafeteria employee effective October 2nd, 2020.
So moved.
A motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion is second, discussion.
Yeah, thank Ms. O'Donnell for her time and service to Wabash City Schools.
All those in favor of accepting the resignation, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Item F, accept resignation of Michaela Duzan as second grade online instructor effective October 2nd, 2020.
So moved.
Have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion second, discussion.
Yeah, thank you to Ms. Duzan for her time and service regarding online instruction.
Quick question, as we have these resignations and we have, this is a paid stipend.
Yes.
is that only paid to whoever's
Yes.
doing it at the end
Yeah,
of
we'll
the each
prorate,
semester?
yes.
So it's
Yeah,
prorated.
Yeah.
All right. All those in favor of accepting the resignation, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Item G, approve Alicia Gelati as second grade online instructor effective October 5th, 2020. Pay for this position is $750 per semester and $65 per student per 9 weeks.
So moved.
A motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion second, discussion.
Yeah, I just thank Alicia for stepping in there and filling that void.
All those in favor of approving the recommendation, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Item H, accept resignation of Jen Lane as fourth grade online instructor effective October 2nd, 2020.
So moved.
A motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion is second, discussion.
Real quick, on this online, has there been an increase? It's today the first day of the second 9 weeks. Has there been a return of kids
Yes,
from online?
yes.
Substantial?
I would say there's been a return.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't quantify it or qualify it as
Okay,
substantial,
there's been
but
some people coming back.
yes, there have been come back.
That's all.
Any other? Discussion.
No, thanks to Jen for her time and service.
All those in favor of accepting the resignation, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Item I, approve Cindy Price as fourth grade online instructor effective October 5th, 2020. This pays for a position is $750 per semester and $65 per student per 9 weeks.
So moved.
A motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion second, discussion.
Yeah, thank you to Cindy. Cindy has been filling in as a substitute teacher and knew about the void and really appreciate her willingness to step in there and fill that void, just like Alicia.
All those in favor of approving the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? One abstention. Item J, approve recommendation to hire
Urema.
Urema Rodriguez as second grade DLI Spanish teacher at a salary of $45,000 pending receipt of social security number.
So moved.
A motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion is second, discussion.
Yeah, and again, the wording of this is Senorita Rodriguez is coming to us from Spain. And so obviously there's work to be done to get her social security number, and she can't work until we have a social security number. And obviously that's not an easy process. And so we've been working to get expedite that process through the Social Security office. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And so it's just, we don't know that date of when. I want to thank Sarah Delgadillo for her work on bringing Senorita Rodriguez to us. Again, Ms. Tracy and her team had hired a team to teach second and third grade before COVID shut things down. And Sarah did a lot of work to make sure that obviously we don't have a large Hispanic population and Spanish-speaking teachers to choose from. And so she worked really hard to get the two current teachers and now Senorita Rodriguez to Wabash City Schools. And I think it was truly a global community when the Consul General of Japan was visiting us and we were taking pictures in front of the Japanese and American flags in the front of Wabash High School. And Urema had juggling 5 cameras on her first day at Wabash City Schools to take all our pictures. I really want to know what she thought that day, but again, welcome to Urema.
All those in favor of approving the recommendation, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Item K, approve the following ECA positions for OJ Neighbors for 2020-2021. Elementary music performances, Jennifer Denny. Head teacher, Jen Lane. STEM club, Wendy Hicks. Book club, Brittany Fager. Choir music club, Jennifer Denny. NEHS advisor, Barb Morgan. Elementary grade level teachers, kindergarten, Lindsay Wilson. First grade, Christy Clark. Second grade, Melissa Lang. Third grade, Nikki Sears. Fourth grade, Jennifer Lane, Angel Hostetler. After school tutors, Melissa Lang, Heather Dutton, Jennifer Lane, Barb Morgan. Mentor teacher, Nikki Sears, Melvin McLean, and Ann Eddingfield.
So moved.
Motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and second discussion.
No, just thank all of them for their time and service to Wabash City Schools.
All those in favor of approving the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Item L, approve recommendation to hire Mrs. Caitlin Lloyd as special education teacher at Wabash Middle School beginning October 19th, 2020 at a prorated salary of $35,000 and a stipend of $100 per student on her caseload pending receipt of college transcripts.
So moved.
A motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and second discussion.
Well, welcome to Mrs. Lloyd. Again, that second part of that stipend is what we provide. We already have built in for our special ed teachers. And so it's just to clarify, that's not something special. We've already approved that. Does that make sense? That benefit for our special ed teachers has already been approved previously. Last year, we put that into place.
Any further discussion? Right. Not all those in favor of approving the recommendation, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Item M, accept resignation of Kip Cantrell as board member for Wabash City Schools effective October 5th, 2020.
So moved.
The motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Discussion.
Certainly thank Mr. Cantrell for his time and service to Wabash City Schools.
Thank you. Right, all those in favor of accepting the resignation, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item N, approve Bill Kanye as board member for Wabash City Schools for the remainder of Kip Cantrell's term effective October 5th, 2020.
So moved.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and second discussion.
Just welcome Mr. Kanye to back to the board.
Maybe lost a step or two, but I still got pretty good math.
All those in favor of approving the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Right, items from superintendent.
Yeah, again, I alluded to the Consul General Okada spending the afternoon with us. Certainly want to thank Mr. Whelan and everybody at the high school for accommodating him. He and his entourage arrived about 1 o'clock, right on the dot at 1 o'clock, and we took him up to the library, had a Q&A with Mr. Chittenden's class. Thought it was a really good opportunity for them and they asked some really good questions. After a short tour, we took them a tour of downtown Honeywell Center, showed them around there, and then I think something that he'll never forget was he got to ride with Mayor Long in the lead car during the homecoming parade, and he visits a lot of communities in 10 states that he represents. And I got to imagine that in his 2 years stint as the Consul General, he will not forget that anytime soon. So I want to thank everybody who made that possible. It was a great opportunity. Again, Sarah she's with us, so she may have some more to say about that.
Yeah, actually, I'll jump in real quick, Jason, but thank you for that, a great introduction. It was a fantastic visit for him and his staff. They had not been to Wabash, and as far as we understand, this is the first time a Consul General has been to Wabash for a visit. So if you're aware, there are, I think, about 5 Consul Generals from Japan in the United States. They report to the US, or excuse me, the Japanese ambassador to the US. So it's a pretty important person to have in our community, and recognizing the work that we're doing at Wabash City Schools. And so it was exciting to have him here and recognize the Japanese language program. He came obviously to provide us that $30,000 check for the grant to start the Japanese language program. And that is a grant that we can try for again next year. It's a 2-year option. It's not guaranteed for the second year, but likely if things go well this year, which we're on track for, they should be able to give us another $30,000 for the second year. After that, then we're on our own. But that's a great great contribution to the program, and a great opportunity to make further connections with the Japanese relationship, which, Jason, is really important, not just for the city, but for the county and really regionally. Indiana is a great friend to Japan. There's about 300, almost 350 now, Japanese companies in the state of Indiana. So when we talk about a workforce that we're creating for the companies in our state, Japan is a good partner for us. So we want to make sure we're preparing our students to obtain jobs in our state. Most of those are manufacturing related, and also highly concentrated into the automotive industry. So really great opportunity to prepare our students for the global workforce if they decide to go elsewhere. But if they decide to stay in Indiana, this helps them for that.
Thank you, Sarah. Any questions for Sarah regarding that?
Just thank you for coordinating that, and all the work you did with it.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. It does take a lot of efforts from a lot of partners, but and it does take a lot to build relationships, right? So appreciate it. That actually came from a visit that Jason and the mayor and I did into Chicago back in February to meet with the Consul General. So he helped open the doors to our Japan language program at that time. So good stuff.
And again, I can't say enough, and want to thank the board for the willingness to support a director of global citizenship, because these programs are possible because we have somebody designated to these programs. It takes a lot of work, like any good relationship. I mean, it just takes time and dedication to making those happen. And so really appreciate Sarah's work on it. There a lot went into that visit, that 7-hour visit. So thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Jason.
Sarah,
Sorry, can I add
Yeah.
one more thing? Sorry, I forgot to mention Teresa Kolzak also visited us for the first time from Indianapolis. She's the executive director of the Japan American Society of Indiana. So she came as well to this Consul General. She's a really important key person in the state of Indiana in regards to Japanese relationships, and has been involved with JASI for the past 30 years. And so it was a great honor to have her as well. And she's one that I've known for a number of years, and Bob Mason, also from Ford Meter Box, is really good friends and colleagues with her. So between the two of us, we were able to twist her arm and get her up here for the day. But I think she was pleasantly surprised about all the activity that's going on and the focus that we have on helping our students learn Japanese, as well as recruiting Japanese companies.
thank you, Sarah. And while we have you up on the screen, would you also talk a little bit about the work on the F1 visa and
Sure.
recent updates on students?
Yeah, so we have an opportunity to enroll some F1 students online this semester. These students come to us through a group called the Elevation Prep. It's a new high school out of Fort Wayne. And they were partnering with Lakewood Park Christian out of Auburn, but Lakewood Park could not offer the I-20 like we can out of Wabash. And so they were not able to service their international students that they were trying to bring in. So we were able to step in and help issue the I-20s for these students. There are 4, potentially 5, Kyle, that perhaps will join us this year. And they are from Guyana, which is part of the Bahamas, Romania, Canada, France, and if we have a 5th one come, he's from Senegal. So quite a mix, right? Quite a diversity of students. And these students are at Elevation Prep, obviously, to really focus on some basketball skills and to really hopefully get into a D1 school. But we're providing, obviously, the academic credentialing for these students. And the exciting thing is at least 3 right now, maybe all of them will be able to graduate from Wabash this year come springtime, as long as they stay with us during this period. Keep in mind they're online right now because of some of the different regulations that have happened because of COVID. So normally international students have to be on a campus, studying full time. There's some flexibility now with COVID, so they can be online. So they're going to be spending some time playing basketball and practicing in Fort Wayne and doing their coursework online with us in the evenings. And so it was a really great opportunity to step in and help another school in the area, but also help us kind of work through our process with international students. If you're unfamiliar with F1 students, to give you an idea, enrolls almost over 10,000 F1 students in the state of Indiana at universities. High school numbers are not tracked real well because there's not quite as many, but definitely, we can help support these students, and who knows, maybe they'll be in the NBA one day and they'll say Wabash High School is where they graduated high school from. So you never know, but it was a great opportunity to work with these guys, and Kyle, special thanks to him and Jeff for their support and all the questions that I've thrown at them for these F1 students. But it's exciting to start the program and see I-20s coming in. And we hope to grow, obviously, this program, not necessarily online, but want these students on campus. And so we'll look for avenues to really expand that this next year.
Thank you, Sarah, and appreciate Sarah's work on this. One of Sarah's goals coming into the 2021 year was to be able to have 5 F1 visa students, and with COVID, it felt like that was impossibility. And it's through her persistence and growth mindset, I think, that and the relationship she's has in Northeast Indiana, that we've been able to land for maybe 5 of these students. So not exactly the route we had dreamed up, but it's a start.
That's
So,
right.
thank you, Sarah. I also wanted to, in a thought, maybe after the cross country season, have Coach Evans and his kids come. I really appreciate the mayor and the city council recognizing Zach Reed, Kalen McDougall, and Jarrett Wilson. They were on a run around the city, the cross country runners, and they came across some people in need, and it hit social media. And so our mayor and our city council recognized those students for their character. In addition to the character that I think Coach Evans brings out in our kids and develops in our kids, they're also excellent runners. This past weekend, they brought home their 4th consecutive TRC. I was going to ask Mr. Stone, is there another maybe girls basketball athletic program that has won 4 consecutive conference titles?
Boys cross country before, back in the 90s.
Yeah,
Boys
And early
baseball did in the 80s and
2000s.
90s,
yeah. So not in recent.
not in
No.
recent.
Yeah.
Oh, even the girls, when they were really good, we lost to the Valley a couple of years.
And I guess TRC, maybe I should specify, as opposed to CIC. So anyhow, 4 in a row, 5 for the RRC, and those aren't in a row, but cumulatively he's brought in 5, and then 10 Wabash County consecutive championships for the the middle school, which is pretty phenomenal to me. Like not to, build him up too much, but what John Wooden do, like 11, like, so building a cross-country dynasty, and obviously teaching our kids about character as well. Gears grant, we hadn't really talked about this, but we received the Gears grant, which is looking to grow accessibility to technology, especially post-COVID. And so we received $100,000 to be used on equipment. We're currently having discussions about what that looks like, potentially hotspots, mobile hotspots that we could purchase to help students, especially in rural areas where accessibility is an issue, and then additional dollars for professional development for our staff and our leadership team. And so, again, I think that's through relationships, through CEL in Region 8. Already talked a little bit about Incubator EDU, career pathways. Mr. Blossom will be here at our next school board meeting to talk about career pathways. We're moving away from the language of career pathways and talking about schools of health science, schools of engineering, and so he's going to talk about those. The idea is to be as intentional as possible and provide students an opportunity to have choice and a voice in what path or what school they want to choose. But he and Mr. Vale will be here next time to talk about that. Unified football, again, that has begun, and it is wonderful. If you have not gone and checked that out, it is a lot of fun to root those kids on. Facility projects, we've been talking to Barton Co. a little bit about the connector, and if you've been by the connector, you see it's made pretty dramatic progress, really starting to take physical shape between the middle school and high school. Steel beams are up, and so Barton Co. has talked to us about maybe sitting down and starting to imagine what that media center really could look like between those two buildings as a future project down the road. And so I talked to Ware Wimberly a little bit about maybe it's time to bring Carnegie back to the table, and with Barton Co. If you recall, we had talked about the potential of a joint partnership to do a media center there, bringing books to adolescents as opposed to bringing adolescents to books. And so excited about that opportunity. And I think that's it. Again, thank you to Kip, and welcome Bill back. And as we talked about the contract, thanks to you board members, we will get together noon in this chamber to ratify that contract. And again, that's recent legislation that requires us to do the hearings prior to approving and ratifying the contract.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Callahan? If not, items from Chief Business Officer.
We'll get to one that Mr. Callahan forgot. We congratulate our girls soccer team for winning the conference, especially just their 5th year as a program. So I think they play in the sectional sometime this week, but they won the TRC. Just a reminder, next Tuesday is my budget adoption with the city council. The meeting is Tuesday because of Columbus Day, so we'll take care of that next Tuesday. And lastly, just also want to thank Kip for his time on the board, and welcome Bill back, even if he has lost a lot of basketball.
All right. Any questions for Mr. Stone on the board? If not, items from visitors.
Obviously, at the end of the week, it was on Friday, so we started a brand new 9 weeks. You asked about online. I have Nikki Feigert, who teaches the gen ed preschool online. She went from 4 and we're down to 1. So we brought 3 of those back. Mrs. G does the special ed, and we went from 5 and she's down to 2. we welcome those kids back. We have another e-learning day coming up on Thursday, which will kind of finish off with literacy and the math critical learning. I'm sure everyone will share. LH Carpenter's Picture Day is coming up on October 15th. And OJ had their fundraiser with the PTO. We will be starting ours, and we are chosen to do t-shirts. So I haven't even shown you, Mr. Callahan. I was just showing Kyle. We have a Spanish one that says Hola, LH Carpenter, OJ and Spanish DLI program. And we also had one that had Apache's Legacy Building.
Nice.
And then we had one that said LH Carpenter Early Learning Center, where the legacy begins.
Nice.
And Abby Arwood designed it for us. And then we're gonna go through Jody White, which I got the name from Chris Fox. They work with her a lot too, so be looking for them. We made it so that it was not only just for LHC, but for Wabash students as well. There's a couple Wabash just Wabash shirts for no matter if you were PK as well. That's it.
Thanks, Kathy.
I'm gonna, happy to report things are going really well. As Kathy mentioned, finished our first 9 weeks and started today in the second 9 weeks of school. Been hard with COVID to do a lot of the fun things that you normally would do, especially at an elementary school. But fortunately, we're still able, they're doing a fire station visit second grade this week, and we're doing one class at a time, wearing their mask and have to social distance while they're at the fire station. But it's something that we weren't sure we were going to get to do this year that they're still getting to do. It's just going to take all week each day to get everybody over there to talk to the firemen and the first responders and see the trucks and stuff. So it's exciting because because of COVID-19, there hasn't been much going on to be able to report a whole lot because people aren't coming in the buildings, we're not taking field trips, a lot of those things that we would tend to do in an elementary. So it's great that we got to get to the fire station this week. I kind of wanted to compliment, and this is because coming from a different corporation and seeing how things work at Wabash, Sam Hipskin and Shannon McBride, because our car system and our busing works as good as I've seen it anywhere I've worked. And that you may not know that if you've only been here at Wabash, but it's smooth. Buses are on, going, very few problems on our busing. Nothing's ever perfect because a kid will get on the wrong bus or, those kind of things can happen occasionally, but it goes smooth. I'm very pleased with how well that Raptor system or whatever they call that for the cars, that's slick. If you've been to pick up a kid, you have your tag in there and kids get in lines in the gym because it's on computers, the computer is projected. It's just a really neat program. And I've seen it, but I've never been involved in it. So thanks to Sam and Shannon as they've got busing and car riders just going about as smooth as I think you can get it to. And maybe Emily, I'm not sure how long it worked before me, but it does work well.
I would tag on to that. I missed the bus with my girls at the high school, so I had called and arranged a backdoor entrance. But I don't think I beat the line by much. And I cut the line, but just getting out of the car, it was moving really well. So I would second that. It's phenomenal.
Good. Thanks, Nigel. Mike is not, but Miss Warnock, you up?
I'm here. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, we can.
Awesome. Well, I just would like to start by welcoming Caitlin. I'm super excited for her to join our staff. Obviously, it's a really important position to me. So getting somebody great in there is just outstanding. And to add her to our staff, I think will be just an awesome asset for us. I also would like to just thank the teachers. We had a great first 9 weeks and coming back to in-person and having the students relearn Canvas and making sure that they were getting on and doing their assignments and things like that just worked out great. I also would like to highlight Miss Pineda's Spanish and world language classes. She has been doing a lot to teach the kids about Spanish heritage and Spanish Heritage Month. So that's been really awesome. Now she's starting a new project partnering with Mrs. Martin, the art teacher, and they are going to be paper macheing skulls and then doing the sugar skulls. So painting them. So that's going to be a really fun project. And I look forward to seeing that enter our hallways very soon.
Thank you, Ms. Fornot.
I want to echo what she said as far as, we're through 9 weeks of school, and before it started, there were a lot of people going, oh, you're not going to last 2 weeks. I mean, there was a lot of doubt. And so I want to give our teachers and our students a whole lot of credit for, their safe practices and positive attitudes coming in. And we still continue to have very few issues with masks and social distancing. So huge credit to the teachers and the students who are working closely together every day. The visit from Council General was a lot of fun. Great personality, and I think our students really enjoyed that visit. One of the numbers that they threw out, beside the large number of corporations, that nearly 70,000 Indiana residents are employed by Japanese companies, which is incredible. So I think that just helps, reinforce why we are doing this. It might provide some great opportunities for our students who go through those programs. Had homecoming week, and it was a really big, fun success. And we actually bumped College Go Week back the following week because they were the same. And so I know the middle school also celebrated College Go Week, and so did the elementary did some too. So, it was a great opportunity. We had a lot of seniors completing their first round of college applications, which is something we try to get all of our students to do as a part of that college go culture. We also had, from best of my knowledge, the first ever Wabash High School drive-in movie. So thank you to the 1324 drive-in for helping to provide that opportunity. It was a great time, and we've already talked about what we can do next year to make it even better. This year it was actually a replacement for our Harvest Ball dance, just because it's very difficult to host a dance with large number of students and still practice those safe practices. So the drive-in was a great alternative. Next year, if everything goes well, we'll have the drive-in and Harvest Ball. Fall sports are kind of wrapping up right now. The tennis team was defeated at sectional by a very strong Peru team, so their season came to a close. But thanks to Mr. Mattern for coaching them this year. I know we had some trouble finding somebody, but they had a great season. Flag football, we had our first and only home game last Thursday night, and then followed up with sectional on Saturday morning, where we lost to Manchester, but huge credit to Ross and Corey Philippi for coaching that team. And they're already talking about maybe adding unified bowling and looking at unified track. So I think we got the right people in place for that. So we're looking forward to moving forward. Boys soccer plays sectional Wednesday night against Lakewood Park at that Blackhawk Christian. And then girls soccer plays at Blackford the following night against Manchester. So they'll be playing in their sectional matchups. The girls golf season also came to a close this year. They had a great season, and Annie Cole actually advanced to regionals. So they made that trip up to Noble Hawk last Saturday. Mr. Stone already mentioned this, but the girls soccer team won the TRC, which is outstanding for fifth year of the program. And I think they lost 4 games due to COVID related issues. They weren't able to play them. So percentage wise, by far the highest winning percentage to be any of our teams, but number of wins is very comparable to our best season so far, just because we didn't get to play as many. Boys TRC, yes, they were sectional champs. There's a site that ranks small, medium, and large size schools. And so they're ranked number 4 in the state in small schools, which is just tells how they kind of stack up against the rest of the state. And then our football team got nominated by a community member, and they are a finalist for the Colts football helmet finalists this year again. So they'll receive at least $1,000 from the Colts organization towards equipment for them. And I also want to thank Heartland Career Center. Certainly had their work ahead of them this year, trying to place internships with a lot of places being hesitant to take on interns with COVID situation. And they've really, in the last 2 weeks, really found some partners who are willing to take those students on, and some of them are paid internships, which is even better. So I can't imagine how hard it was to do all of that work, but I certainly appreciate all the work that they continue to do on behalf of their students. That's it.
Thanks, Kyle.
As Kathy mentioned, we have our second e-learning day for Thursday, October 8th. I think this is the first time in a few years that the entire district is going to be able to do some vertical collaboration with literacy and mathematics across grade level bands. So that will be a really, really good thing. Also on that day, we have our Apple trainer that is going to specifically provide professional development to our foreign language department, our music department, and the art department. So that will be really, really good. And then the rest of the departments have time for collaboration among themselves that day. Today, we were able to officially invite 23 community members to be a part of our second cohort for the Wabash City Schools Ambassador Program. Our very first meeting will be held October 30th, and we will get to introduce that program to a new set of community members. And then on October 12th, 13th, and 14th, Mr. Callahan, myself, and Mrs. LePage will be officially providing training for process communication model to all of our secretarial staff. And in November, we get to do the teachers at LHC. We also were able to attend a masterclass training for PCM to be able to teach us and help us be able to deliver that training virtually. We have about 90 teachers that we get to train. So in person is probably not going to be an option. And that was a pretty incredible opportunity. We were with one of the less than 10 master trainers in the entire world. And he was giving us that training from France. So it's a pretty cool opportunity.
There's a guy from Mumbai, India in that too, when you think of global citizenship. And yeah. Thank you.
Quick update. First, being on YouTube, I think my kids have enjoyed getting the updates from the school and hearing some of the but wanted to give an update. Worked with Bev Vanderpool, and we kind of refreshed the school board application packet. If you've all completed that, some of you multiple times, you know that packet was getting dated. So Bev really did a great job sitting down and going through that, looking at the questions we asked. And so we do have two appointments that we'll be looking at this year. We started accepting applications October 1st, and we'll accept those through October 31st. Our plan is then to have council do interviews mid-November and then make an announcement by mid-December at the absolute latest. Typically, we make that announcement sooner. So definitely encourage, if there's parents or community members who have expressed an interest, this is the time to complete that. We hope to have a nice selection of applicants to interview this year.
Thank you, Mitch.
Anybody else? If not, items from board members.
Just thanks for the opportunity to do this. Wabash is a special community. Like Mr. Burns said, the fact that teachers were able to do that, and it's nice to get to work with a collaboration of people that sees the big picture, and it's the kids in the future. So thanks for letting me be a part of that.
Rhonda?
I just wanted to thank Kip for his time on the board. I'll miss his contribution. Welcome Bill back. That's all I've got.
Okay. Tony?
I keep waiting to bring you big news from Heartland, but I don't have any yet. Things are going well. There's just a lot of kids there. Kip, thanks very much for the time on the board and appreciate having you. And Bill, welcome again.
Stephen?
I got a couple of things. First off, Kip, thank you. I know you reached out last year when application process, I already applied. So I appreciate you being a resource this past year. So you're not leaving us though. So
No,
we
I'll still be
appreciate
involved. Kids will
it.
be here,
Exactly.
so.
So Secondly, Nigel wanted to point out, my daughter is so excited about the 2nd grade trip, but she's informed me about an actual field trip with the key is a comfortable shoes because they're walking. So excited for Wabash Athletics. As maybe you know, my 7-year-old is like probably the most well-attended 7-year-old, maybe the most well-attended student of anybody at Wabash. So she's sitting here going, Dad, when are you going to get done with this meeting so we can go see volleyball tonight? So, but it's just exciting to have role models like Wabash Athletics have had. Unified football was great. I don't even know an estimated count, but it was great to see all the people there, even with the weather. And to hear that they're looking at doing further sports, that's awesome for the athletes and for the community. We're 25% done with the school year. That's a credit to the students, credit to the whole community to be able to stick together and do what we needed to do. And welcome, Bill. Despite your mask, welcome.
I wanted to add one thing. I've enjoyed the PTO's fundraiser right now, the readathon thing. Evelyn is really getting into it. She's like working hard, competing to get her minutes in, and I think it's a good one. So I don't know how much they've raised yet, but I just wanted to commend the PTO president and the PTO for all their hard work on it.
Rhonda, if I can jump in real quick, they've, at last PTO meeting last week, they raised a little over $7,000, which is phenomenal. OJ and LA Carpenter currently have a really strong PTO, and they've been engaged in both the schools, and I currently serve as the treasurer. But that, I agree, that they did a nice job selecting the fundraiser, and the parents and students both have gotten really excited behind it.
Right. I too want to thank Kip. Enjoyed serving with you the last year, almost 2 years. Thank you for all that you've done for Wabash City Schools, and I know you'll continue to be involved, so thank you. I want to thank the 23 community members that are going to be part of the Ambassadors Program. This is the 2nd year of that program, and to have another large group of community members willing to be on that, learn about city schools and school systems and how they operate, and especially what we're doing here at Wabash City Schools. I want to thank them for taking the time to be part of that program. And I know I probably sound like a broken record every time I get to talk, but we're doing an awful lot of good things here. When you talk about adding Japanese, and we're in our DLI and our unified sports, and there's just so much going on at Wabash City Schools that's positive for our kids, our community, and I want to thank everybody involved. It's administration, it's our staff, it's our students, it's our parents, community members. We've got a great organization, and I just want to thank everybody for all they do for our community. And with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion, second?
Second.
We are adjourned. Thanks, everyone.